Hello, I'm William Henry. Welcome to Awakened Soul, the lost science of ascension. Our world is in transition. Something huge, something enormous and wonderful is unfolding, and we are all a part of it. We are making it happen. The collective soul of humanity is awakening. It is doing so through the challenge of world crisis and powerful celestial factors. Some call it the Great Awakening, or the Great Shifting, or the lifting of the veil, spiritual disclosure, or the Ascension. It is all happening now, and Awakened Soul is about all of this and more. In search of answers, you may have studied religion or philosophy, practiced yoga, meditation, or explored the evidence for ancient angels and extraterrestrials, even reptilian ones. You have actually been and are on an exciting cosmic quest into the discovery, secrets, and lost science of soul ascension. You've picked up many clues, and now you wish to put it all together. What comes next in your awakening is the creation of your ascension plan. We have health plans, financial plans, career plans, retirement plans, family plans. What about your soul plan, your ascension plan? At this moment, you have two choices. One, you can say you have a plan and it's working, or two, you can recognize that this conversation is truly one, maybe the only one, that really matters at this time. And then join us as we go forward into a spectacular adventure into the secrets of the soul and ascension. There will be highs and lows, levels of awakening. We still live one breath at a time, but awakening your soul is a process, not a destination. So we will focus on living it rather than arriving at it. And I am certain there are keys here to help you live it the way you want and to maximize your incarnation on earth. It could be an image. It could be a simple word or a phrase. I believe that it's here. Soul ascension has been at the core of my work for nearly 20 years. As a mythologist, my specialty is human transformation into celestial beings or angels. I have followed the path of the awakened ones, the ascended ones, the perfected ones, who have completed the path of earthly incarnation and ascension that we are on. They overcame the obstacles and soul challenges to cross the bridge of eternity by manifesting their light body of pure love, and now are what the ancients called cloud riders and ascended ones, celestials and star walkers. On earth, we are all pupils in the school of ascension, star walkers in training, if you will. It is interesting that when pupil is spelled with an IL, it means student. It is also the core of the eye. Pupil with an AL is a stage of metamorphosis as an insect goes from embryo to imago, the imaginal stage when it attains maturity, as in the case of the butterfly. Psyche is the ancient Greek word for moth or butterfly and creatures which transform themselves into something new. Psyche is also the ancient word for soul. So how do we leave our pupil phase and attain our next level of being? I believe we can do so by studying stories of they who have actualized or realized their potential or ascended, and how this is possible for all of us. These stories are actually mind maps for the soul. From Ishtar in 2300 BC to Isis and Osiris and Ptah in ancient Egypt, to Elijah in 800 BC, to Mary Magdalene, to Jesus, to Padmasambhava in 800 AD, to Francis of Assisi, to Paramahansa Yogananda in the 20th century. We will trace the path of soul ascension and transcendence by studying the stories of the ascended ones. And as we do so, as we tap into their spiritual intelligence, I call ascension intelligence, we will be able to map our minds to theirs. By learning to think like the ascended ones, we can be like them. We do this not for ego gratification, but because it is the next step for the survival of all of humanity. We do this to end suffering, to glorify God, and to illuminate humanity, the earth, and Gaia. As each of us awakens and ascends the path of higher consciousness, vibrating on a higher frequency, we become guides or lights for all of humanity, and we align with all and with our highest goal, which is connecting our world to the greater world of light and love beyond this one. Some of you have already done this and have come back to assist the rest of us. Thank you all, though, once again for joining us. We all will sooner or later ask ourselves, who am I? What am I? Are we our body? Or is our body merely the container or vessel for something else? And if so, what is that something else? First, let's take a look at our body. Our body is, well, roughly 100 trillion or so living cells, apparently imagined and formed by a brain firing 100 billion neurons or nerve cells, with each cell and neuron made of countless number of atoms made up of electrons, quarks, and gluons, numbering into the trillions of trillions and all cooperating and colliding at the invisible level to make us who we are. But that is nothing compared to what is at the subatomic level, because pulling back the veil, as do the angels and avatars, we enter the ultra-bizarre, unseen, unmeasurable other world of particles and non-particles where things are not things. And particles become waves that are not there, but are there. And they do impossible things because they're motivated by limitless laws of quantum mechanics that totally contradict limited real-world classical laws of nature and the universe that is seen and that we experience. Okay, so our body, our flesh, is a collection of invisible smashing atoms and molecules all brought to life by something. But what is it? It is our soul. Our science, though, is very limited when it concerns this special something. Theoretical physicist Dr. Michio Kaku recently defined the soul as information. It is the collection of everything you have ever put on Facebook, every memory potentially scanned by a supercomputer in the future, stored and available to be copied in the future, into another version of you, just like passing data from your flash drive to your PC. We are looking at the Internet of Things at this moment. Is this the collective soul of humanity? Is it the sum total of the information we have put online? Is that really our soul? We also live during a time when quantum teleportation or beaming, Star Trek style, from one location to another is becoming possible. As C.S. Lewis said, you don't have a soul, you are a soul. You have a body. The question is, what happens to our soul when we beam? Is our soul only information, or is it something else that beams too? To answer this, we can turn to holistic and Eastern medical practices, which are based on the philosophy that life has a quality independent of the physical and chemical laws. Disease results from some imbalance in vital forces of this something else that we really are. They have different names for this something else: elan vital, vital force, vital spark, divine spark, the soul. If we wake up the vital forces of the soul beyond the body, we can heal ourselves and a whole lot more. This philosophy is called vitalism. It's the basis for the Force in Star Wars. The Force is what gives a Jedi his power, or in this case, Jesus. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds and penetrates us. The takeaway here is that the something within our body is a living soul, a force, and that it has giant untapped powers. According to the Gnostic texts and Western mystical traditions such as Kabbalah and Sufism, our soul force is also a divine spark or seed that manifests the physical body, our temple. So our soul has a wave-particle duality. It is a glowing, fiery particle thrown off from a great light. It is a seed of a great tree of light, a drop from a cosmic ocean. Gnosticism, going back to the time of Plato, teaches that our divine spark has fallen into our world and is entrapped in the world of matter, symbolized by the craggy, rocky area in this painting by Kano Hagai. The soul must be awakened by a divine aspect or celestial counterpart of the self, a messenger, so that it can remember its true origin and be raised and reintegrated with the divine sphere or divine realm. A most lucid and informative explanation of the messenger is provided by Anthony Peake in his book, The Daemon Hypothesis. Essentially, he says, we all have two aspects to ourself. The everyday self, the I, the me, or eidolon, lives within time and perceives a limited amount of what we term reality. Our better half is the immortal daemon, the secret self, which exists outside time in the unseen realm and knows not only what has happened, but also what will happen next. It is also known as the heavenly twin, the angelic spirit, the guide of light, the guide of the soul, perfect nature. We don't often recognize this self because the daemon has been demonized by organized religion and our culture. I mean, people who hear voices or think they can turn into light beings are crazy, right? But it's like we all have a passenger in the seat beside us at all times. We are largely unaware of it. It's like we're driving with our eyes shut. But this higher self is trying to help us navigate our way home to our forgotten reality. Our soul awakening occurs when we open our eyes and attain knowledge of this celestial self, and we begin living by its more righteous or upright directions rather than our lower earthly self. Have you ever seen your higher self or connected with it? I was given a possible glimpse of my higher self in January 1999. I had given a presentation in Memphis, Tennessee, and afterwards some of the group went out for dinner together. A woman was sitting across the table from me and she was staring through me. And she was concealing a drawing that she was making. And finally she produced the drawing. "This is your higher self," she said. And I was kind of blown away. The three sacred nuts, she said, were a part of my consciousness, but she didn't know what they meant. So was the related symbol that looked like a trident. It took me a number of years, but I finally learned that the trident is the symbol for an instrument that opens the gates of heaven. And those three sacred nuts, they symbolize what the Buddhists call the Chintamani of the Buddha. They are the three seeds of the awakened soul that produce the light body or sheer garment he is wearing. So, did my higher self reveal itself to this woman? Who knows? But maybe the future me, like the future you, is leaving clues, like E.T. leaving Reese's Pieces for Elliot. The beautiful Indian expression, namaste, acknowledges the divine spark or spirit force within. To perform namaste, we place the hands together at the heart chakra, close the eyes, and bow the head. It can also be done by placing the hands together in front of the third eye, bowing the head, and then bringing the hands down to the heart. This is a spiritually deep practice of respect. The hands on the heart chakra increase the flow of divine love, the spirit, without which nothing is possible. Bowing the head to show our crown and closing the eyes helps the mind surrender to the divine spark, the soul in the heart, and merges with the third eye. It frees us from the body and acknowledges the eternity of the soul and connects us to its origin in the timeless realm. In the Gnostic traditions, which come from India, the purpose of life is to enable the divine spark to be released from its imprisonment in matter and return to God or the divine light, the timeless realm. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Essenes express the concept of Namaste and Ascension this way: "May you be as an angel of the presence in the abode of holiness to the glory of God. May you be as an angel of the presence in the abode of holiness to the glory of God." That really sets a powerful intention. It says we want to become angels. In the Gnostic, Christian, and Essene tradition, the cosmic Christ is seen as an avatar of light which has taken human form in order to lead human souls back to the light. There is a competition for our souls. Christianity refers to the body made by the divine spark as the temple of the Holy Spirit. Your body is the temple. The soul is the Holy Spirit that the Hebrews called I am. Christianity brought with it the idea that both the soul and the body it makes will be raised together to heaven at a future moment. This resurrected soul body is referred to as a light body, a soul light body that we will mirror in our own ascension. When the Essene Master John the Baptist baptized Jesus, he transmitted the Holy Spirit in waves of light into his open crown chakra. He infused Jesus' body with a light, a vibration that came from a higher dimension. The angels wait to give the baptized Christ his cloak of light, which is called the robe of the soul, and is worn by all the ascended beings in the higher frequency new world, and it is our goal. Acquiring this soul garment is our life goal, and our soul uses it to open doors to other realms. Just as a person changes his clothes, our soul can change our body from incarnation to incarnation. We can rearrange the molecules and change our soul clothes. Jesus' soul transfiguration or metamorphosis demonstrated that our body is transformable. The divine spark, the soul, is redeemable, it's immortal, it comes from the stars, and we literally are truly made of star stuff. Every single atom of our body, except hydrogen and traces of other light elements, was formed in a supernova. When a star explodes, it briefly changes into a butterfly form. This is another reason why the butterfly is one of the more profound symbols for the awakened soul. As Jesus taught, loving actions awaken the soul and produce bright white clothes for the soul. This is the white Tara radiating her light body. Buddhism teaches that we can transform our world and ascend to a purer place by purifying our soul. We do this by changing the actions of our lives from the inside out. And just as 90% of losing weight is about what you put in your mouth, 90% of ascension is about what comes out of your heart. Ascension and attaining a light body is about what you do or don't do in each moment. In addition to loving actions, another way the Gnostics and Buddhists teach us to do this is through contemplation of sacred images of soul transfiguration. My wife Claire and I hosted a series on Gaia called Arcanum, in which we explored the power of sacred art to illuminate and enlighten us. In Buddhism, this is a sacred practice called ekagrata, or one-pointed focus on sacred images. The idea is that as we connect with the images, we become them, as we actually are one with everything, always, in any way. And according to Buddhism, each of us holds within us an exhaustless source of compassion and wisdom. All we need to do is to connect with our most essential nature, our light body, that has been covered over by negative emotions and false perceptions. There are many ways to remind ourselves of that. Among them are meditation, prayers, yoga, recitation of mantras, construction of inspiring places, visiting sacred places. But in Buddhism, there is especially open-eye meditations on light body images such as this, which portray the state of being of the ascended human form. Sacred images play our DNA like we play a piano. And as we contemplate, meditate, and reflect on the images, we begin to mirror them from the inside out. This is based on the Egyptian practice of making magically active images. So long as an action was seen performed on the temple walls, it existed into eternity. This is why the early Christians hacked out the body parts of the pharaohs and severed the connection with the divine realm. One of our jobs is to reassemble the lost connection to the sacred imagination, the mind of the soul. I am personally astounded by the power of the soul, the awakened soul, and the power of images to activate the soul. Like the Egyptians and Gnostics, Buddhist Ascension teachings say that paintings can become portals to the afterlife realm. To give you an example, one of my favorite examples, let's take a look at this welcoming descent painting like this one, which were indispensable religious furnishings at the time of death. Such paintings depict the scene in which the Amida Buddha and his attendants descend from heaven on clouds to take a believing soul back to the Western paradise or Pure Land on the Lotus throne. The scrolls were often hung by or beside the bedside of the dying to ensure the prospect of rebirth in paradise. Since traditionally the dying lay with their heads to the north and their faces turned west, welcoming descent paintings usually depict the Buddha and his entourage coming from the upper left down to the lower right, so as to meet the gaze of the dying. Sometimes silken cords were attached to the Buddha's hand, offering the dying physical assistance during the journey to paradise. Did you know that until 1926, humans believed we lived in a celestial egg, our Milky Way galaxy, and that it was the entirety of the universe? That's right. Until 100 years ago, humanity thought the entire universe was comprised of only the stars we see in the night sky. In fact, when we look into the night sky, all the stars we see are in the yellow dot in this image. That's it. There's obviously a lot more out there. Then Hubble began looking at photographs of the night sky that showed cloudy patches called nebulae or interstellar clouds of dust. Most of Hubble's colleagues at the Mount Wilson Observatory thought these fuzzy eggs of light were all in the Milky Way, but Hubble didn't think so. Hubble answered the question by taking the best possible photos of these fuzzy eggs and proved that they were outside and beyond the Milky Way. The cloudy egg of light was a whole other galaxy, and we named the newly discovered galaxy Andromeda. She was named after the goddess in Greek mythology, who was chained naked to a rock as a sacrifice to the sea monster Cetus, but was saved from death by Perseus, who rides in on his flying white horse of light. Hubble's discovery led to the realization that our galaxy is a sister galaxy to hundreds of billions of galaxies that inhabit the known universe. More, Hubble proved our universe is expanding. And this realization led scientists to seek and discover the origins of the universe. Hubble's discovery completely shattered our understanding of existence. By increasing the size of the known universe many, many times over, Hubble took us into the soul's true garden and closer to our origins. His discovery cracked open the cosmic egg, and it was humanity's great awakening. In the 1950s, the Gaia hypothesis proposed our Mother Earth as a conscious being, and all of its life functions as an organic whole. In 2013, NASA validated the Quran's assertion that the Earth is actually egg-shaped. So if the Earth is a conscious, living, and loving being, how about our galaxy? What if it, too, is a conscious entity? Can our galaxy be viewed as a divine spark or cosmic egg in a greater body of souls, just as our soul is a divine spark in our galaxy? The answer is yes, for we now know that our galaxy is one of 100,000 galaxies in what is known as the Laniakea supercluster of galaxies. But this is only a tiny fraction of the universe's estimated total of 125 billion galaxies. Laniakea is a Hawaiian word meaning immeasurable heaven. The Hubble Space Telescope opened a gateway to this immeasurable heaven. And I've always loved the wordplay or pun in the name Hubble. HU means God, and with the addition of a letter A, the BBLE becomes Babel, the name of the ladder or gate to God in the pivotal story of the book of Genesis. The Tower of Babel was located in ancient Babylon, which was associated with lust and prostitution. The funny thing is, when Hubble discovered the Andromeda Galaxy, he did so while peering through the Hooker Space Telescope. The universe definitely has a sense of humor. In the book of Genesis, the Old Testament God, Yahweh, destroyed the Tower of Babel, fearing that with this ladder, nothing would be impossible for humanity. The Hubble Space Telescope clearly opened a gate to the stars, a stargate in our consciousness, a soul gate. Now, perhaps nothing will be impossible for us. Actually, watching that Billy Meyer video wasn't my first awakening. I had spent part of the 1980s doing private research for a self-help guru, answering questions like, how does the brain work? Why do people fail? What is culture? Why do people gain weight? It was an amazing educational experience for me. I didn't realize it at the time, but this research was preparing me for my own soul awakening. This came when I entered a literary contest sponsored by media mogul Ted Turner, who was seeking answers to our world's problems. In 1989, Turner said that science and technology can't solve the world's problems, and he offered $500,000 for the best piece of fiction dealing with themes ensuring the survival and prosperity of all life on Earth. My story was called Turtle Island and was based on my previous research. It focused on a sage's dream to build an academy where the children of the world would gather to learn to build a new human civilization. I named this school Tula. I didn't know where the name came from. It just popped into my head and it sounded really nice. And in my story, Tula was the largest man-made structure on Earth, so large it could be seen from Earth's orbit. It was shaped like an egg, with butterfly-shaped wings and a heart-shaped head. These are the symbols of rebirth, renewal, and regeneration, and the soul. I actually pulled these symbols off the glass doors leading into my study. And in my story, this giant structure was meant to be interpreted by otherworldly beings as a sign of our civilization's advancement, sort of like the Batman symbol in the sky, if you will. But I was soon in for a huge surprise. I learned that Tula actually existed in the ancient world. In fact, it was the name of the temple of the Aztec god Quetzalcoatl, the winged or feathered serpent. Tula was also the name of the central healing sun, or the spiritual sun as the ancients called it, the golden womb from whence the ancients believed all our souls originated and remained connected to and ultimately will return to. The ancient sources said that this place, Tula, feeds us with a cosmic essence, a healing wisdom, rays or waters, and our sun is a gateway for this cosmic energy that feeds the soul. It was incredible to me that I pulled a name out of thin air, and it happened to be the name of the place our souls came from. The soul loves synchronicity or remembering, right? This discovery set me off to learn more about the Milky Way, and we all have much to remember about our cosmic egg, our home galaxy, the Milky Way. Many ancient traditions regard the Milky Way as the pathway built by the gods, which souls follow to the other world. At the end of this path lies the land of the dead, which is viewed as a return to greater life from the soul's perspective. In 500 BC, the Greek philosopher Pythagoras taught that our souls dwell in the waters of the Milky Way between incarnations, inferring that when we incarnate on Earth, we each bring a ray of the healing sun with us. Astrophysicist Dr. Paul LaViolette traced these myths and the source of these healing waters, the source of our soul, to the black hole at our cosmic egg center. The black hole is seen in this NASA image as a bright white spot surrounded by beautiful, ethereal purple. Is this the source of our souls? Is it possible that the ancients had a source of knowledge beyond our science? Could it be they knew the secrets of the soul's origin itself, and we are now rediscovering that source? In 2010, NASA discovered that a pillar of gamma rays is spewing from the galactic center. For the first time, human beings not only grasped our place within the Milky Way, but we also potentially discovered secrets about our source, almost as if we are being welcomed home. So let's take a moment to look at this incredible NASA animation of our home galaxy. It is truly awe-inspiring. It's soul-tingling. For generations, the existence of this pillar of light within the spinning cosmic egg was unknown. And we have to ask, what else is out there that we have yet to detect? My Turner Tomorrow Award experience left me with the belief that teaching children and all of humanity about the soul really is the answer to our world's problems. We have to get beyond the skin and see the soul within everything. Think about how different our world, your world, would be if instead of just being educated as a child, you were also illuminated. In the spring of 1991, I read a wonderful book called Life Between Life by Joel Witten and Joe Fisher. This book dealt with themes about reincarnation and the other side. The authors asked the questions, what happens during the space between lives? Where do our souls reside when we are not incarnated on Earth? Where do we spend our life between lives? Is it spent in the Milky Way as Pythagoras taught? Where were you before you came to Earth, and where are you going from here? Have you ever thought about this? I know you have. And what have you concluded? Please share it with us if you would like. It will help all of us to remember. The circumstantial evidence presented in the book suggests that our soul evolution is decided prior to entering into another physical lifetime. As people and situations enter our lives, we begin to understand that these were pre-selected by us before we incarnated. Do you believe that? How many times have you solidly, irrefutably recognized or experienced this? Life Between Life inspired me to write my second book. Its title is Junior Cosmic Egg, and it's the story of a cosmic egg named Junior who wants to grow up to become his own universe. During this time, I was leading a children's Sunday school at a religious science church in Nashville and intended Junior to be a children's book. I hoped that the story of this tiny egg, realizing the unlimited potential packed inside him, would inspire kids of all ages to explore the power within themselves and our astonishing universe. I envisioned a children's metaphysical workshop around Junior in which he would teach kids the lost language of symbolism as a way to unite the children of the world. And I hand-illustrated hundreds of copies of this book and gave out Junior Cosmic Egg Awards for outstanding achievement in the service to the transformation of the human race. Al Gore, Oprah Winfrey, Don Henley, Dr. John Lilly were among my awardees. I would surprise them at public events with their award for their achievements. And with Junior Cosmic Egg in hand, I set off lecturing on the Whole Life Expo circuit. My topic was Kids in the New Consciousness. And I'd gone about collecting stories of children's interactions with angels, extraterrestrials, and even Jesus, most of which were absolutely astounding. And it led me to realize that there's a whole lot more going on in our world than most realize. Often, it was the parents who contributed the most amazing stories. It turns out that they too had experienced these otherworldly beings, but being children of the 50s and 60s, they weren't able to tell their parents about these encounters for fear that they wouldn't believe them or they'd think they're weird. But our world has shifted dramatically in the past 25 years. Now, angels and extraterrestrials are the new normal. Our universe has expanded. Our collective soul is awakening. We are ascending and getting closer to discovering the lost science of the soul. Junior Cosmic Egg introduced me to a whole new world of mythology I never knew existed. I learned that for thousands of years, the cosmic egg had symbolized the soul. Going back 7,000 years to the incredible Algarve egg, the ancients in all lands revered the egg as the symbol of regeneration and immortality and the galaxy and the soul. To alchemists, it is the philosophical egg, guarded by the serpent or dragon. There's that reptilian code again. Since the Paleolithic times, the beginning of life has been described as the hatching of a cosmic egg laid by a sacred great mother bird, the golden goose, or goose as in Holy Ghost, of fairy tales that drops the egg into the waters of space or chaos. Isn't it interesting that Laniakea, the immeasurable heaven, resembles a bird in flight? This is a bird-shaped jug from Phaistos in ancient Crete from around 2000 BC. Within its body are spirals and eggs. It tells the story of how this egg cracked open and all life appeared. Cosmic energy or essence, the seed from which all life began, including our souls, sprang into existence and fanned out in spiraling waves. It's incredible that it looks astonishingly similar to the spiraling funnel of emissions NASA discovered coming from the supermassive black hole buried in the heart of our galaxy in 2010. To ancient philosophers, the question about which came first, the chicken or the egg, also evoked questions of how life, the soul, and the universe in general began. To Aristotle, they both always existed. For Plato, before everything appeared on earth, it first existed in spirit as a thought. Speaking of Plato, I have traced his story of Atlantis to the Temple of Horus at Edfu in Egypt, where we find the Edfu creation texts, and also to Dendera, Egypt. These texts say that in the beginning of Egyptian cosmology, there is the cosmic egg that emerged out of the spirit waters of creation. Blue light beings with bird heads bearing some kind of technology emerged from the cosmic egg and created the island of the egg, out of which emerged or hatched the first human civilization. The symbol of the egg in creation myths is ubiquitous. It's everywhere throughout the world. In the Indian knowledge system, for example, the cosmic egg is known as Hiranyagarbha, meaning a golden-hued womb. And the Big Bang of creation is expressed as Brahmananda Vishapatak, or universal explosion. In the Kalevala, the Finnish national epic, there is a myth of the world being created from the fragments of an egg. And according to Chinese mythology, in the beginning there was nothing in the universe except a formless chaos. Then this chaos coalesced into a cosmic egg for about 18,000 years before breaking in half to create the sky and the earth. The idea that our souls came from or is a cosmic egg is actually shared by the Celts, the Greeks, the Egyptians, Phoenicians, Canaanites, Tibetans, Hindus, Vietnamese, Chinese, Russians, Central Americans, and Indonesians. It suggests to me that this concept was a self-evident truth, or that someone had given this code symbol, this code of the soul, to these varied peoples through some form of revelation, perhaps by some form of ethereal spirit or wandering missionary or missionaries. In their art, the Mayans were among several cultures that used what we call the letter G to symbolize the egg creator, the essence, and the Milky Way. When the G appears on the walls of Mayan temples, pyramids, sculptures, or in their codices, says Mayan ceremonial leader Hunbet's men, it's a code symbol for the secret mysteries of the science and religion of the Milky Way, the cosmic eggs. How the Mayans knew a galaxy was G-shaped is unknown. But the Maya were not alone in symbolizing the galaxy by a G. This Neolithic design depicts two human figures consisting of two triangles in almond-shaped enclosures on either side of a meandering belt of Gs. The primitive artist who rendered this scene was supposed to have been barely capable of playing with sticks and stones, yet from a modern point of view, its narrative suggests knowledge of wormholes linking multiple galaxies. It appears to me that this figure started at one end of the belt of galaxies and star-walked through the other four Gs, or galaxies. For thousands of years, the clockwise spiral ideogram has been strongly associated with water, power, and outgoing energy. Starting from the middle, it forms a G. Its mirror or twin image, or inversion, the spiral in its counterclockwise rotation, appeared at approximately the same time, and it happens to be an Egyptian hieroglyph for thread. Both symbols resemble a fetus, and a similar Chinese ideogram means return or homecoming. To the Mayans, the G also represented the concept of zero, an egg. And the egg happens to be a modern scientific symbol meaning galaxy. Going deeper, the G shape is also the musical notation for a whole note, which also resembles an egg. As this sacred note rises within us, we transform is the message here. In ancient Egypt, the creator god Ptah was a potter who fashioned the human body by potting it like an egg. Mithras, the Roman god, was born from a cosmic egg. And the Magi of the Christ story knew the secret of the mystical cosmic egg. One of the earliest icons of Mary shows Jesus in a glowing, transparent cosmic egg in her womb. This image has tremendous spiritual power now that we know we are all considered to be cosmic eggs. Until the 8th century, the Christ child was shown in a cosmic egg, in this case, blue. And as we will explore in detail later, the blue egg or blue sphere is actually a bubble for transport and is described by shamans as a sort of quantum egg that the soul uses to phase in and out of our reality. And finally, our transfiguration, or change in form as occurred to Jesus, is symbolized by the egg of light surrounding Jesus during the transfiguration, when his body became a stargate. The egg of light is also seen in the Ascension. The resurrected Christ is often enthroned in a cosmic egg. It is the Merkaba egg, the throne or chariot of the soul of Jewish mysticism. And according to tradition, sometime after the resurrection of Christ, Mary Magdalene went to Rome to see Emperor Tiberius Caesar and announced to him that Christ had risen from the dead and explained how it all took place. After she finished, Tiberius noticed a man next to him holding a basket of eggs. And Tiberius challenged Mary that if what she said was true, then the white eggs in the basket should be turned into red eggs. Suddenly, the eggs turned red, leaving Caesar astonished. And this is why we decorate eggs on Easter. And the appearance of Christ is symbolized by the egg. Finally, it is upon this blue cosmic egg or sphere that Christ will appear at Judgment Day, or the Second Coming. As we see here, blue angels compose the cosmic egg. So, do such similar origin stories exist simply because all life on Earth starts from an egg, even though early humans presumably did not know that we too begin life in an egg? Or might it reveal that our ancestors had a greater knowledge of our soul, our world, and our universe than we imagine? Might they have known that our soul is a cosmic egg and that one day we too will ascend to the stars in a cosmic egg? Until next time, be humble, let your light shine. Namaste. This is William Henry. Thank you for watching.